All right, folks. So, 28th, last month, last week of the whole second quarter, first half of the year. So, kick it off. Anybody got any good news besides Rob? Oh yeah, sure. He's got good news. You should share.
I think we're in business now. Um,
Yay!
Hopefully we get this offer accepted and then it will be our first one, right?
Your first listing.
Yeah. So it'll be good.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Even if it's only for a day or two, it's still a listing. It still counts.
Okay, perfect. Perfect. Okay.
And Rob, you had a couple this week too.
Yep, two listings and a buy. So things are popping over here in the East Valley.
Nice. We just gotta get stuff going on the West Valley. How Lauda? Oh wait, she's not on the line. Poor Lauda. No, she's doing good. She's got some stuff in the hopper, so we just need to get those closed. Myself, yeah, we were working on reveal or reevaluate. They're gonna be potentially a lead source for us as well as a source, kind of like property valuations, where we were using to get people that are motivated to sell or buy in the next so many months. They're going to be able to find those leads for us potentially, as well as reevaluate our current leads and help us score them. And they're going to integrate with Chime, so it'd be right directly in there. So there's no effort on anybody's part, which is huge, I think. So then we're also evaluating a few other lead sources too. So hopefully some more stuff will come of that. I got some news to talk about for the forbearance and evictions, which pisses me off, but that's life. We'll roll with it. So anybody have any questions before I jump into the market or any other good news?
Just a quick, in my spare time last week, I also went through the home swap
Nice.
onboarding. So
You certified yet?
Oh, same.
I am.
Same. Me too.
Yay. That makes 3. Sweet. Almost got the whole brokerage here. Maybe we'll get that
I
brokerage
know
certification soon.
Lauda's doing it this morning too.
Awesome. Yeah, that'll be at least half. Good work, guys. That was quick. Thanks for jumping on that. It is a really nice thing to be able to come to the close or listing presentation and say, hey, there's another option. So unfortunately, they kind of changed the rich uncle program, and it's kind of like a semi-rich uncle because it's conventional. But they still keep the home nest where they'll come in and buy out your home for cash and then lease it back to you if you need the cash needs. So that's still a possibility, especially if somebody's in there has almost enough equity to buy a house. So possibility still, but yeah, the program kind of got a little worse. But still a good program. There is still options out there for investors to do all cash offers. So if you have clients that have those needs and they need to move quickly, obviously talk to Abraham or myself. Especially if it's mobiles and 50,000 or less, I will do those all day long. But back to good news. Someone else jumped on. Hey, it's Abraham. Speak of the devil. Does anybody else have any good news? Things they want to go over before I jump in the market? All righty, market is starting to cool off. This is what we call the downside of basically when you hit that peak, things are starting to cool a little bit. We have our active listings are crazily enough still pretty going up in number, which hasn't happened like in a year or two. Our under contracts are actually going down, and I'll show that in a second why that's happening. Our pendings going down, of course, listings under contract, all that stuff. Our sales numbers still kind of staying steady. Our active listings price per square foot is still dropping because things in the luxury and above, or even semi-luxury at $500,000, are starting to drop off, which is not the best news for Rob and his clients. So they need to move on their sales. Comfort market index. I usually show this one. I'm going to show the demand index because it's a little bit different story than the market index. Demand kind of peaked right around December or November of last year, and it was holding steady for most of the cities and starting to taper for the high demand areas like Gilbert. And then we've been steadily decreasing all through the second quarter, and now it's kind of dipping again. It's typical to have demand kind of drop off over summer, where obviously desert and nobody likes going and seeing houses in 110-degree heat. The kids are out of school, vacation's already done, so people aren't really in a big hurry to buy houses. So demand naturally tapers off a little bit, but we never see things like drop like Gilbert did here. It's just kind of crazy. So active listings are ticking up because demand's going down. People aren't closing as much, which seems kind of like, oh, doom and gloom, but it's kind of still insanely crazy as far as price per square foot is still on this big hockey stick rocketing to the stratosphere. This is a 3-month average for Maricopa under 2 million, and we are now at 240 a square foot. It's insane to think about that. July of last year, we were at 186. That is like a $60 a square foot increase. If that doesn't sound like a lot to you, multiply that by 1,000. Yeah, that's $60,000. That $1,000, that 1,000 square foot home just went up in value. Insane. Closing per month above list price, we're still around still increasing. 61%. Everybody's getting really, really crazy with their offers, especially if you're in this $300,000 to $400,000 range. 71%. We're almost to the point of 3/4 of all offers are over list. If you're in this target range, which I know several of you are dealing with right now, you pretty much have to give over list if you're going to get the house, period. It's going to be a rare one, probably a damaged one that they just kind of threw on the market that, maybe would have been a good wholesale deal 3 years ago. They're just throwing it on the market and selling it, not cleaning it up, not doing anything. I mean, not even putting on cover plates on outlets. I mean, I used to do that for clients for free because it's a $2 item. The amount of they're going over list price has dropped a bit. So there is obviously decreased demand. People aren't going to pay as much over. So that's a good thing for your buyers that are looking. The percentage of over list isn't too much or starting to drop slightly, but people are still putting them in over. Of course, contract ratios are insanely high. Our highest point was April, setting a new record of 358.6. See this nice word maximum? That's the max. Oh, of course, it resets while I'm trying to make a point. Of course, now it's going to include all counties and all price ranges. So if you include everything, it's 332. But if you were including the prices I had before, it was 382, 36, something like that. That's insane. That means we are signing and putting things under contract 340 some percent more than we are listing them. So if you can find a house and you can convince them to list it, we can sell it. Pretty much straight up. It's money in the bank. 358.6. So it ticked up a little slightly more than last month, but just the weirdness of our market right now. Typically those are supposed to be dropping off and should hopefully be dropping off soon. Just to show you the kind of craziness, even let's say last year, days on market for June was median 40 days. We are at 15 or less. Median means a lot of them are less. If your house is on the market for more than a week, there's really something wrong with it and you market it very badly. Listing success rate. This is pretty cool. We've always been telling everybody, it's pretty much almost 100%. This is true for most price ranges. The reasons, of course, if you go over $1 million, get into luxury, there's some that just won't move for a little bit. And for whatever reason, maybe they priced it way too high or something happened and they don't list it and pull it. This includes people that pull it. So if people pull it, it's not a success. It's obviously a failure. So the number comes down. Majority of these that are down here for 100,000 or less. The only reason why they're that is because they're probably houses that nobody wants. If you're looking under 200,000, those are the scary houses. Just to show a month supply, we haven't come up nearly enough even from last year after the big crazy dip and increase. We're still decreasing. We're finally slightly starting to tick slightly back up. Used to be around that 0.4 for all cities, all for Maricopa under 2 million. We're still on this upward trend of very quickly moving upwards. You can see that nice little spike in the last 3 months. That's kind of what these spikes looked like. So it's even sharper than the spike after the pandemic outlet. This is basically around, oops, sorry, my bad. This was the pandemic spike. That's what I was trying to talk about. It's spiking almost as badly as that right now. Probably because one, demand's tapering off. Two, it's summer. So you got two big negatives hampering our market. So new listings by month. Just want to kind of reiterate, we are not seeing very many. We're still at an anemic level, even for June. Even for June, we're low. Even for the taking into account that, yes, it's summer and nobody wants to go out and look at houses, so nobody wants to list. May had a stellar month. It was bigger than for most previous years, except for 2019 when we had almost a more normal. So yes, get the listings. We will sell them. This is kind of just a dashboard presentation that you can take to your listing presentations. Ask me and I'll give you a copy. There should be a generic one up also in BrokerMint right now. 10K square feet to take out the BIM mega mansions for Maricopa. We are still at 3835 active listings. Coming up, you can see the trend line. It's now coming up out of the dip. So hopefully this trend mark for June, second quarter, when all those sales get calculated here in July, we'll see this number probably jump up. And still hockey stick on our list prices, going way, way, way up. No sign of that slowing because we are over half below what we should be right now in the summer, 50% less. Our listings under contract are dropping, but our prices are just going through the roof. And that's pretty much it for the market. Any questions on that before I go on the next stuff? Two things I want to hit on before I go into the tip of the week. Realtor.com threw out this housing forecast. Nothing we haven't really already talked about. Just wanted to let you know that at least the national data at Realtor.com is kind of backing up what we're seeing. The big thing they're worried about is this COVID and double dip recession. Something could hit the market that comes up. Could be another outbreak. Could be something with forbearance and foreclosures, which is what all the legislatures are worried about right now, which leads me into my next thing. The current administration, in their infinite wisdom, decided to extend out the evictions and forbearances for yet another month. No reason why, except that they're afraid of legislators have contacted them, 44 of them or something like that, all over the state said, oh my God, if you don't do this, it's going to be bedlam and the housing market will crash and everybody will die. Which is not true. Our market might actually kind of balance itself out a little bit, which is what we hope to have happen because buyers are struggling very badly right now. So to help out the people within need, and hopefully what they also throw in here is that they have a rescue plan. We're going to rescue everybody and we're going to even out things and fix all the racial issues and low income issues all at once in a month. Our government. Yep. So if you believe that, I got land in Florida I want to sell you. This is really cool. Clubhouse. I just wanted to bring it up real quickly. It's a new social media app. Oh my God, not another social media app. Yes, there is another one. But the cool thing about them is it is audio only. So people that are camera shy or like to lurk, like myself, this is an amazing tool to still be in there and network. This kind of started kicking off during the pandemic and took off because everybody was doing all these conferences and nobody go in person. And even the ones that were in person, people didn't want to go to. So what they would do is they put up these clubhouse rooms afterwards and you can ask any big conference and then any real estate ones or even non-real estate ones and say, hey, there's going to be a club room or clubhouse room afterwards. And then the people that are speaking usually will go in these clubhouses and talk, answer questions, network, talk about what's working, what's not working in smaller, more intimate settings. Well, not smaller, but more digital. It's a new social media platform, so you can tie in all your other media platforms, Twitter, Instagrams, LinkedIn's, Facebook, whatever. It's another way for people to get a hold of you and also for you to mingle and network with other people. The cool thing is there's even some called these zero talking rooms, which is kind of funny, which is like silent chat rooms, which reminds me of party lines. If you're, what do I say, further along in age, like myself and one other agent that's on this line that I won't say his name. Remember those. You can call into them and hang out and talk on the phone. I know, crazy, right? And meet people. So that kind of reminds me of those days. Just funny. Things kind of come around, go around every few years. It's a new platform for learning new skills. If you like to learn more about how to follow up, how to track down clients, how to figure out new marketing tips and tricks, Clubhouse is a really great way to do that. There's people out there like Mr. Tom Ferry just throwing Clubhouse learning sessions out there. It's for them to increase their followings, obviously, and to present themselves as an expert. It's also a great way for you to pronounce yourself as an expert. That's the other thing. You can follow people, start things, star them, bell them, whatever, message them. That's the other big thing is you can direct message people through it. So if people aren't comfortable asking you the question in the middle, even just an audio only forum, they can ask you later. So this is how people are getting leads, crazy enough. They'll go in, they'll present about their community and say, hey, did you hear about this great new dinner place down the street or whatever it is? And you're talking about, stuff about identity, faith, entertainment, hanging out, sports, wellness, language, world affairs, arts, tech, whatever it is, but you do it in your community or the place you're trying to farm. Find a clubhouse that talks about it. I'm sure there's probably a white wing one. And just go out there and say, hey, who's my ideal client? Who do I want to look for? What are they up to? Hey, they love golfing. I'll do golfing in Paradise Valley because I like high net income people. Just lurk, ask questions, talk to them, tell them about you love golf and this is how it's amazing. You can, I said also if you got some expertise in certain areas, doesn't have to be real estate even. It just has to be something that people that you're trying to find client-wise that they'll be interested in too. Say you think, oh, that's an amazing thing. I know all kinds of things about this golfing and this golf club or whatever, and you put on a clubhouse and talk about the amazing golf club, and the next thing you know, you got clients asking you, oh, you're a realtor too. So really expand your SOI, also get your name out there, drive people to your different social media contacts as well as into your network. Yeah, bunch of text to codes, all this other fun stuff you can do with it, Twitter, Instagram. Direct messaging is the other one I told you about. Hey, I heard about Speak on Clubhouse. Love to share blah, blah, blah. Would you mind if we connect? I mean, talk about, I would love to get those every day. It's also a great place to sniff out competition. Let's see what everybody else is doing in your area. If Agent X is killing it in your neighborhood and you find them doing a clubhouse, I would listen in. And of course, Kramershy, I told about that. And it goes into more details about it. But if you Google Clubhouse and real estate, you'll find this article. It's easy. That's pretty much it. I want to go into the quick tip this week. So, staying out of trouble. Everybody's least favorite topic, but it's one we really need to talk about once in a while. I'm sorry it's not fun and glamorous like how to make more money and get more listings, but this will actually save you money as well. If you've never heard of commission annectomy or never had one happen to you, I hope you never do. But if you've been in the business long enough, you'll probably end up having one. It's usually because somebody or somewhere screwed up along the way, and to keep the client happy, you give up some of your commission. You pay for something or say, oops, I screwed up. Here you go, some money. The biggest one and the most important thing is fiduciary. If you can remember or memorize this word in all your car loads, that's pretty much 90% of the problem. Fiduciary duty is one of the main things that lawyers will go after. You did not present your client's best interest ahead of all yourself or anything else in the deal. If you got stuff going on in your life, don't carry your fiduciary duties to your client. If your client's a real asshole to you and is being a total bearer and totally should be fired, but you're still sticking out to get the commission at the end, yeah, that's still your fiduciary duty. Got to put them first. Your second biggest duty is to the other side. Your duty is basically disclosure. And on top of that, be professional. You got to be honest. You got to be on top of things. But that pretty much summarizes all the stuff that you agree to in the agency that you're going to do. Of course, you're not obligated to disclose the other crazy stuff. You don't have to go above and beyond your duties and talk about natural deaths, suicides, homicides, crimes, felonies, sex offenders, AIDS, all those fun things. Those are protected. Don't have to talk about them. So just want to reiterate those. Craziest ones are when you can say, I can't tell you anything about that. Talk to the neighbors. And that's, you can leave it at that. Your client's really worried about those things. The next big thing, key dates. These are the big three. execution or mutual agreement, the date that everybody agreed to things. This is where all your future dates are going to key off of, except the closing. The next big thing, of course, is inspection period. Oops, I'm supposed to click these. So once you get the accepted contract, everything starts, those wheels go into motion. You've already negotiated everything on the contract, buyer, seller agreement, and hopefully you've done all your good due diligence beforehand, which we'll get into later. Inspection period is the next big one. This is the huge one. This is where 9/10 of all of your litigation cases are over, because those are your big ticket items that everybody gets pissed off about. And they're like, well, it's worth suing them now. I can get $10,000 or $30,000 out of the deal. Closing date. That's your next big third one. That's where everybody gets pissed off, where, oh, my house didn't close. I had to buy a moving company. Oh, I'm homeless now. And if that client gets pissed off, they're out money. You'll end up in court. How to avoid court for execution duties. Basically, the biggest one, like I mentioned before, is your fiduciary duty. Almost all of them come back to that. If you're sharing out confidential information, you're not keeping your data safe, they come back later. It causes them the deal. They lose out on $30,000 or $40,000 worth of money. They're going to sue. Failing your client's directions. If they tell you to do something, you must do that if it is lawful. Period. End of story. They say, I want to cancel. You cancel contract immediately. You can talk them out of it. You can try. But they have directed you. You're their agent. You must comply and do it. If someone on the other side presents you an offer, they are presenting you an offer, you're supposed to present all offers. If you fail to present those, you are failing to follow your client's directions, which is indirectly, they want to know of all things, all offers, all things that are going on with their transaction with their home. Acting on behalf of the other side. You do not have any duty beyond honesty and professionalism to that other side. Oh, I felt sorry for the listing agent. She didn't get her contract in on time. Too bad. You don't represent her. You don't have anything to do with her. If your client says, yes, let's take that one into consideration, then that's what you do. If your client says no, screw them. That's it. Sorry, so sad. My client wants this. I don't care what you want. Remember that. You're always working for your client first and foremost. Stay lawful, stay legal. Profiting at the client's expenses. This one's typically only when you're double dipping or if you're representing more than one side, which we don't allow. We do not allow dual agency, first and foremost, because our E&O doesn't cover it. And second and foremost, you cannot serve two masters. If you are first and foremost about all what your client is, how can you represent them and another person? You can't. They're totally contradictory. So with that one, since you can't legally do it, you ethically can't do it, just don't do it. Misleading statements about a property, that goes back to your fiduciary duty to disclose. Misleading is also if you put in your listing that says client will review all offers on Saturday or Sunday, and it's now Friday. If you put that listing up closed under contract on Saturday, you have lied to the public. You have misled them in your statements, and you could go to court. So keep up on your statements. Don't mislead the public, and definitely don't mislead your client. As long as you keep good faith, care, and loyalty to them, you should be just fine. Don't get sued. Inspection periods, as is, and waiving spuds doesn't hold up in court. Doesn't matter if they put it in their listing. Don't care. If they say, please waive spuds and clue, that's a different story. If they say, as is, we don't know anything about the property, they're lying. They know something about the property. If you own the property for 10 years and you never step foot in 10 years, okay, now they have a case and they put in there, haven't been in the property for 10 years. Sign it. You're done with your spuds. The big thing everybody always gets in trouble over, of course, is whatever happens during the inspection period that they did not disclose, and they're trying to weasel out of it with that clause. Oh, I didn't know there was mold. I haven't been in the house. I never owned the home. Well, they own the home. Asbestos, always lurking. And then, of course, foundation issues. That's the other big third ticket item that everybody gets sued over. Inspection period, you got all these things you're supposed to cover, environmental, blah, 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 architectural, insurance, lending, all those things you're supposed to figure out. Zoning, fire, health, safety codes. There's a ton of things in there. You're probably not an expert in all those, so get an inspection. You can write in the contract, don't waive the inspection, but write in the contract, we will not be asking for any repairs. That's totally legal. That's fine. You should definitely still have the inspection, because if something big comes up, your client doesn't want to pay for it. Oh, there's foundation issue, 30 grand. I didn't know that was possible. they can still cancel. Get everything in writing. Don't, if it's an email, texting, they're talking, oh no, we will never. Yeah, just tell them, send it over an email. You at least have a paper trail. Third thing, closing dates. Missing important dates leading up to the cost of delay or breach. This is one we're talking about. Closing is a big thing. There are lawyers out there and they are looking for you for missing these things. Were they negligent? Did they have professional negligence in how they handled that transaction? Why didn't they close on time? Did they screw up somewhere along the line? Big deals. Big deal is one, inspection, disclosure. Okay, you got through that. The next big deal, closing. The biggest lawsuits happen because they don't close on time or didn't close at all. And sometimes they'll try to go back through the record and they'll go through all those important dates. And if somebody screwed up somewhere, that's what they're going to go after. And that's what the lawyers love. After all the big scary legal ones, what? I'm missing, there it is. Boom, there it came in. All right, ADRE complaint process. There's another way for you to get in trouble, and it's not anything to do with getting into court or criminal. The big one is our commissioner. She loves coming after people for various issues and keep people compliant so we protect the public. Majority of complaints are, of course, breach of fiduciary. They can still come after you that for your ADRE as well. Dishonest dealings, also disclosure. Unlicensed activity is their other big one. Biggest thing there she's going after right now is unlicensed assistants doing things outside what they can do. So hopefully, Joanna, if you're listening to this one afterwards, yep, they're gunning for us and you. Statute and rule violations, that's the big one that she loves going after. The biggest one right now is people not presenting offers and letting the people that presented those offers know why they're rejected. If they say nothing and you get busy and you let it lapse, they can come after you with a complaint to the ADRE and also try and sue you. But basically, they're going to go after a complaint because they want Duty Law to go after you and hamper you about fines for getting their license. They don't go after tons of other things that have nothing to do with what the commissioner goes over or controls. She doesn't handle commissions, earnest money, mortgages, construction, landlord-tenant, HOA. Not even code of ethics for realtors. Nope. That's NAR. Can't come after you for those. Complaint process is they file a complaint, they tell why, they investigate it, then some kind of resolution happens. Maybe they send you a no letter. Don't do that anymore. Sometimes they negotiate, get a settlement, get a consent order. Sometimes do public service, civil penalties, make you go out and do community service. That's the one I'm looking for. Provisional license, they can knock down your license. Don't worry about that one. If you get into that one, we'll talk about that. The big three that everybody always worries about is suspending your license, revoking it, or surrendering it. You can lose your license and lose your livelihood if you get into this complaint process. Complaints also remain on the public record. Anyone wants to search for it, they can look on the public database under ADRE. So, hurts your reputation and all your future dealings, which is fun. Brokerment. This is your first line of defense. I mentioned about close of escrow. That was your big one. If they find something that blows up at that point, they're going to go back through the record and try and find certain things you did correctly and wrongly. ADRE is also going to go through the record. They're going to audit everything in there. Audit. Everybody loves that word, right? Nobody wants to be audited, so if you want to stay on top of things, keep those things moving through Brokerment. If there's we send out those notifications, and Brokerment does also. If we contact you about it, we need you to get on top of those things because we do not want you getting in trouble later. Superior record keeping and transaction management is key to keeping yourself out of trouble. There are things that they are supposed to be recorded and kept track of. Brokerment does it all for you. So the tool is there to help. Insurance. This is another one. If these are things that kind of keep you up at night, you're like, oh my gosh, I don't want to get sued. I don't want to have these things happen to me. ADRE has their fund or whatever. It's like, I don't know how much it is, like 30, 40,000. So that's some protection. But if you need more protection, you're worried about $1 million lawsuits, probably won't happen. But I can never say never happen. So if that causes you concern, the brokerage has E&O to cover the brokerage, and this covers you somewhat. If you want more insurance, gap insurance, whatever they call it, if you want more insurance that we do not cover, and for you personally, you can get those. There's OREP and others out there. Also, there is small business liability claims and general liability coverage. You can get those from most agencies. It's good coverage. I mean, $1 million or $2 million will cost you maybe like a couple $100 a year. So it's not bad to have as backup. Self-help, cheapest solution here is education. The more you know, the less likely you're going to get into problems. Read the contract. I always tell everybody this. I don't know if anybody ever listens to me, but you should read the contract and all the addendums backwards to front. You read it front to back. You start reading through it. Your eyes are going to glaze over and your mind's going to go off to other words because it's not a fun thing to read. I know, unless you're a lawyer. 90% of what you need is in there. Anything comes up, issues come up, refer back to the contract. If you've heard that before, hopefully you've heard me say it a few times. NARD Library and Archives. Let's see if I can get to that real quick. Oops. Oh yeah, Library and Archives. Really cool place. Since 1923, they've been putting tons of info in here. There's an ebook catalog. They got all kinds of business letters that you can use. They also can search this for policy services, and also it's a good, big, huge reference for what happens in this instance. Can we do this? And you can probably find it in the NAR Library and Archives. If you're not, you can ask me, you can help. Oh, before I forget, what can ADRE do to me? Oh, these are fun. So just wanted to kind of go over these. I always like looking at these every month to see how many people are on problems. Most of the time it's convictions. My assumption is there's still these things in here like DUIs or something. Trust account violations, that's another fun one. Advertising violations, they go after you. Activity while license was inactive. Bad boy. Breach of fiduciary duty, there's in there. Trust account, conviction, revocation of securities license. Wow. Wonder how that happened. There's another fun one. Violation of rules and regs. That pops up every once in a while. Subdivision sales. I'm not sure what. Oh, yeah. Didn't do the subdivided blah, blah stuff that I didn't do very well on the tests with. I'll admit to that. Another subdivision violation. So if you're in new builds, you're dealing with that kind of stuff or land, make sure you know about the subdivision rule. They go after you, obviously. 3 pages of it out of, 50,000 agents in the state of Arizona. That's not too bad. But still, they're out there. It happens. Back to this. What was I going to talk about this one? Oops. Come on. Loading. Oh, yeah. CE courses, of course. Most of them are free. Some will charge you $10, and also you get credit for your CE for the next year. There's lots of them on their legal issues. I definitely recommend going into the fair housing ones. That's another big one, hot button with commissioner. And also, of course, anything about the contract right now, because a lot of people are getting into troubles about that. Be the source of the source. Do not tell people about things that are outside your area of expertise, especially legal, trade, and tax. People love to go in the house and go, I don't think that roof is too bad. Outside your trade, unless you're a roofer. Oh, I don't know. Taxes benefits are definitely very good. How do you know what their tax situation is? You don't. Tell them to refer them back to the CPAs. Tell them I have an amazing guy that can totally help you with it and save you tons of tax money. All you do is flip the little script a little bit, keep yourself out of trouble. Stay in your lane unless you got a guide with you. If you're in our coaching program, you're covered. If it's an area outside your expertise, you should really get help with that because they can come after you for that if something goes wrong with Flyways. Really good reference to have in your desk or in your digital ebooks is the Real Estate Professional's Guide to Law and Practice. She does a really good job of actually putting this into layman's terms, all the laws and statutes, and it's a really good reference. So if you're like, is that legal? You can flip through and find out. And then final thought, keep your wits about you, stay on top of your transactions. And if you have a gut feeling like something's really wrong with this transaction or this person or this client, don't wait. Just reach out. We can help. That's what we're here for. This one I love. The zombie one. So I was going through these cases trying to find case stats and stuff about people violating. And I came across this one with this woman literally, while showing the home, she was talking about basements and fascinated about basements. Finally, she asked her, like, well, what's the deal with the basements? I want to turn a basement into a shelter in case of zombie attacks. She thought she was kidding. No, she's dead serious. 2 weeks later, the discussions got more and more intense, turned into zombie folks conversation every time, asking me to research information about zombies. Why would you ask your agent to do that for you? Various topics related to housing and zombies. Point where she said it got so weird, she got weird, so I ended up ending it and walking away. So definitely talk to your broker. We'll talk about remedies, but she probably took the right road and Yeah, that's probably a loss waiting to happen. Uh, she said it seriously made her rethink her choice of career. Wow. When I was in software development, we actually had to see if a person was a cultural fit. We actually asked them point blank in the interview somewhere, what are you doing to prepare for the zombie apocalypse? Well, this woman would have thrown through that interview with flying colors, actually. So, these different things. So, hopefully, you guys can hear this. If not, I will send you the link. Can you guys hear that? Well, if you can't, hopefully it's at least
No.
subtitles.
No, I can't hear it.
Uh, can you guys see the subtitles at least?
No.
Well, she wasn't talking there, but oh wow, you guys don't even get those. Uh,
Glasses though.
oh, aren't they awesome? That wig. But it's awesome. She says like every single bad thing that you hear about realtors saying. It's just like, oh my gosh, it's so over the top. But anyways, I'll send you guys a link so you can check it out later. I was trying to end on a funny note because that's a pretty dry and horrible topic. So, any questions on any of that? All right. Anything that we can do to help you with your business? Any roadblocks or issues you're running into out there?
Hey,
All
Tim,
right.
I do have a quick question.
Sure. Should I record it or not record it?
Either way, I think it's fine.
Okay. Well, look.
So the listing I've got for that rental,
Uh-huh.
should I go through the on queue to communicate with the renter?
If they have a
Can I go
property management and their contract is in place, you can only talk to the property manager. You can't talk to the tenant.
That's what I thought. Just wanted to confirm. Thanks.
Yep, definitely. So hopefully they will take care of most of that issues and communications for you, which is great. Otherwise, if they can't cancel the contract anytime soon, then unfortunately, yeah, you're going to talk to them directly. You are the owner.
Okay.
So thankfully, you have a licensed person in between you, so they can handle all that. Second thing, just so everybody's listening too, with tenant rentals, with properties that you have a listing with a tenant in it, there are a lot of protections that the tenant has. The biggest thing is the 48-hour notice, obviously. That's a good one. The next thing is you can never put a mechanical lockbox on that one. You should even be hesitant to put any kind of lockbox on it. You have to put a CBS code on it. Why is because you'll have people that are in the area. Sorry about that. You'll have people that are in the area and they'll pop in and try to get into the house. I had one where I literally had the blue box on there, told them it was tenant occupied. Do not come over here. Do not open. Make an appointment. 48 hours required notice. Someone came over and rattled the front door trying to get into the house and freaked the tenants out. And they, of course, chewed the owner's ass out, and then they chewed my ass out. So it's fun having a tenant in a property you're trying to show and sell. So if you get to that situation, talk to me. We'll go over the many points and issues with that. So thanks for including that one. All righty, guys. Anything else? All right, I think I killed the recording. Did I? Did not. But anyways, if you guys have anything else, let me know in the next few days. I'll be hitting the road on the 1st, so I'll be intermittent if I have ability to contact you back. But hopefully within 24 hours, I should be able to contact